Hey church, just got a devotion for you this morning, and as we begin to approach Easter and reflect on Jesus' journey to the cross and ultimately the empty tomb on Sunday morning and all that that means for us as Christians, I just want to bring you back for a moment to the Last Supper, to the upper room, Jesus' final moments with his disciples before everything that's about to unfold. And I really love John's account here because of the detail and just the sense of intimacy that he captures here with Jesus and his disciples and this time that they have together, these final moments. And, you can imagine what it must have been like for the disciples in that room. Jesus had been with them for the last few years. They've chosen to follow him, to give their lives to him. They've given up so much for him. He was the Messiah. And now all of a sudden he's talking about, he's going to leave them. He's not going to be with them in the same way anymore. And so the disciples, they're trying to get their heads around this. You can imagine the emotions, the confusion. And really Jesus here in his final words, he's preparing them for what's ahead of them in the coming days and into the future as well. And Jesus' plea really is that, times are going to be tough. Over these next few days especially, but into the future, times are going to be tough. There's going to be trials and there's going to be sorrow. But Jesus' plea really is that through all of that, to stick with him, have faith in him, just as they had, continue to follow him, follow his example, abide in him, obey his commands, all of those things. And I really love the end of chapter 16 here, if you'll let me share that with you. Verse 20, I tell you the truth, you will weep and mourn over what is going to happen to me, but the world will rejoice. You will grieve, but your grief will suddenly turn to wonderful joy. It will be like a woman suffering the pains of labor. When her child is born, her anguish gives way to joy because she has brought a new baby into the world. So you have sorrow now, but I will see you again. Then you will rejoice, and no one can rob you of that joy. Then a bit later on in verse 33, Jesus says, I have told you all this so that you may have peace in me here on earth. You will have many trials and sorrows, but take heart because I have overcome the world. I love in those passages the words of reassurance and comfort that Jesus offers to his disciples, that times are going to be tough for you and I as well. While we're in this world, there's going to be sorrow, there's going to be trials, it's going to test us. But take heart, Jesus says, take heart because I have overcome the world. And I love that analogy of the labor pains, but the anguish that turns into great joy because new life comes out of that. And through the suffering and the sorrow that we endure in this world, and that ultimately that Jesus endured on that cross, it gives birth to new life, new creation in Jesus. And so while we're here in this earth, you will have many trials and sorrows, but we take heart because Jesus has overcome the world. He has brought us new life. He is restoring us and restoring this world. So we put our hope in him and we continue to stick with him and put our faith in him.